always on our webinars. We love you. Thanks for joining us. All right, everyone, we're going to get started. It is 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and I am super thrilled to kick off once again another Tech Tuesday. The RE/MAX Business Builder Series continues. My name is Michelle Hoyt. I am Manager of Education and Development for RE/MAX INTEGRA. We are an independent region of RE/MAX, encompassing our North American footprint, which is the whole Ontario Atlantic region. So shout out to all of our Ontario Atlantic folks tuning in. And we have the Midwest region, New England, and then we have a lot of great friends from the company-owned regions here in the US at RE/MAX. So we welcome all of you officially. So we are broadcasting on Zoom right now. So a lot of you are on Zoom. You are going to be able to ask questions by typing in the chat box or the Q&A box. We also want to say hello to our Facebook audience. We are broadcasting live right now on the RE/MAX INTEGRA US page. I'm sorry, there's no way to broadcast to two pages at the same time, so you will not find it there, but please go to the RE/MAX INTEGRA US page. Please like the page, and then you will see we're broadcasting live there. There is a slight delay, but we are pretty much caught up by the end. So I cannot wait for you to meet our special guests today. They have a lot to share with you, and I also want to thank them in advance for giving an hour of their time as fall market is in full swing, and I know that an hour is not easy for any of you to set aside for anything other than working with your clients. So I'm super appreciative of that. So welcome one and all. I see the numbers growing. We're excited to have you on. So I'm going to go ahead and start and have our panel introduce themselves. Today is all about RE/MAX tools and the brand and how you can prospect and generate business with them. So we're going to start with Drew. Drew, please introduce yourself. Tell everyone about you, your background, how you started with RE/MAX, and anything else you want us to know about you as a human being.
Oh, this could take the whole hour. No, Drew Dial. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. Been a real estate agent for, it'll be 7 years this winter, all with RE/MAX. So my background is food service. I started in college as a server and a host and bartender and became a cook and just fell in love with that industry and went into food service management and franchise development after college. Those hours for anybody, it seems like a lot of realtors have a past in food service in one aspect or another, but those hours are horrible. It's 80, 90 hours a week, and you're working when everyone else is having fun. And as I started to, I got married and started having kids, being able to be my own boss, RE/MAX, well, being a realtor, was my ticket out of the food service industry. So why RE/MAX? It goes back to way before I was a real estate agent. When my wife and I got married, we bought our first home and we chose a RE/MAX agent in our market, which is different than the Indianapolis market. So we didn't know anything about buying a house, as most first-time home buyers do, but we knew we could trust in, we knew the brand, we knew we could trust in her. So then, fast forward 5 years later, when I looked into being a real estate agent, I reached out to her and asked her for advice on how to be successful. Also, we were in a different market at that point too, so I asked her if she knew anybody in Indianapolis. She did. She had a referral partner here at the office I'm at now. This was honestly the only office I ever interviewed with when I got licensed. I knew really quick that it was the type of office that was, we hang our hats on, businesses helping others build businesses, and that was exactly what I was looking for. And that's what I've found the last 6.5 years. So that's how I got here.
And Drew, tell everyone the size of your office and some of the other duties that you do there.
Yeah, so we have almost 70 agents, 4 staff, a handful of assistants. So I'm a solo agent. I do have a part-time assistant, for lack of a better term. She's right over here. She does a lot of this tech stuff that I'm not actually that great at. We figure it out together, and she holds me accountable to it, and schedules it out and make sure that everything gets running. So also at the office, outside of my own business, I'm also the manager here. So I answer any questions. Our broker owner, Jim Wilson, is very involved as well. He's he still sells a lot, and he is more of the ins and outs of contracts, and when agents are ready to go at each other. He's the one that steps in. I get to deal with all the fun problems, and he gets to deal with all that stuff. But I help with recruiting and training and agent development. And when Michelle, has trainings on new stuff, I, lean on her, dig into it, and then try to communicate that out to our 70 agents.
Awesome. Thank you, Drew. So you've got a lot going on and still conducting your business. So thank you. All right. So representing Canada, we have Stacy. Stacy, tell us all about you.
Well, it's a little hard to top that, Drew. That was really good. What can I say? My background is in residential design and drafting. So I have a little bit of an architectural interest that lingered, but I liked people a lot more. And for me, it was about being part of something that was important in people's lives. And I wanted to, be able to set my own hours, set my own goals. And that was a big driver for me. I'm a mother of 3. I live in a small community just about an hour east of the GTA. And we service a community of about 75,000 here in Northumberland County. So yes, my background was in residential design. I did a lot of that prior to real estate, but like I said, working with people was probably the most interesting aspect for me, and it was encouraging. So we run a team of 4. I'm a broker. I've been licensed for 14 years. And then we have 2 real estate assistants, licensed representatives, and a communications coordinator as well. So it's morphed in the last 3 or 4 years, but it's been a great experience. And RE/MAX is important to me as well. I started at a different brokerage previously, but I knew RE/MAX was ultimately my goal, and we made that happen very quickly, which is great. And other than that, nothing really specific that I can say. So that's where I'm coming from.
And Stacy, can you share with everyone the makeup of your team?
Yeah, so there's myself. I'm a broker. I work primarily on the listing side. My mother has been licensed for 4 years. She works with us as well, Nancy. And then my girlfriend, Tammy, she's been licensed for 5, and she works with us also. So they're sales representatives. They work primarily with lead follow-up, buyers, and new points of contact. And then Sarah is our marketing and communications coordinator. She has a degree in graphic design, so she does a lot of, if not all of the tech, social media aspect of everything. And she's a past client, so that's how we built that relationship, and it's been going very well. So grateful to have everyone, for sure.
Thank you. See a running theme here. See, notice everyone, you can't do it all by yourself. Drew has help. Stacy has help. So that if that could be your takeaway from all this too, I'm sure they can talk more about that. Feel free to ask questions. So we're gonna actually talk to them about a lot of things about RE/MAX. Like I said, we do welcome your questions and your comments. So I will keep an eye on those on both Zoom here and on Facebook. So let's dive a little bit deeper into your story with RE/MAX. We'll start with you, Stacy. So what was it specifically that attracted you to RE/MAX? And then also, if you were asked by an agent at another company, sort of what's so great about RE/MAX, what would you say?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I always wanted to be in the same space as people who took the business seriously. It wasn't something that I was interested in as a pastime. So it was important to me to align myself with what I considered to be number one. Franchise awareness was huge. I know RE/MAX does a lot of marketing with respect to the general public, and for me that was important. In my small community, there are a number of brokerages, but RE/MAX stood out to me in a few ways, actually, to be honest with you. I appreciated the fee structure. So not every RE/MAX is the same, but I did appreciate that structure as opposed to the split structure. I appreciated having my own space. I appreciated having the added admin and support staff, and a broker who had a solid reputation in the community and who could help provide me with the resources to boost my business and move me further, amongst all of the training that's available, which is obviously key as well to success in real estate.
Awesome, thank you. I do see a question that just came in asking if you are the broker of record, or what your official capacity is in your brokerage. Could you clarify?
Well, I am a broker. I run a team within the brokerage, but I am not the broker of record. I'm not quite prepared to handle that monster yet.
Okay, so, and your broker owner is Michael Perry, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Michael, if you're watching. Thanks for letting us borrow Stacy for an hour. All right. So Drew, you did share with us how you got to RE/MAX. That's very cool. I've heard more stories like that, I think, than you would expect, that those that had a good experience with RE/MAX decided they wanted to join the team. But what would you say, because one of your roles as a manager at your brokerage is you do help assist and also drive recruiting. So when agents from other companies ask you, what's so great about RE/MAX, or what do you have to offer? I guess, what is your elevator pitch about RE/MAX?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to what I mentioned earlier. You know, we're known as a business helping other people build businesses. And, you know, like she mentioned before, every RE/MAX is a little bit different. Our office has a very collaborative approach to things. You know, one of the number one agents in, the city is going to help the brand new agent with open house strategy. I mean, there's just a very open door. So I always lead with the collaboration. But going back to the building your business, it doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home mom that wants to sell 6 homes this year for $25,000 worth of extra income, or if you're somebody who wants to go out and kill it and make $500,000 this year. We're going to support that plan through. So that's where we're big on is getting down to your why. Why do you want to do this? There is flexibility in your life when you do this, but there's still a ton of work that goes into it. So it's getting down to what drives you personally as a prospective agent, and then how can we as RE/MAX, as RE/MAX Legends Group, as Jim, myself, how can we help support that? That's always what I lead with, is that we're going to help you grow a business.
Wonderful. We have a lot more to talk about, but I see some good questions kind of flowing in too. So Eric wants to know from both of you, how much GCI did it take before you hired an assistant? That's a really good question. So Drew, you want to start with that?
Gosh, I don't really know. It wasn't much, and I don't do a ton of business. I didn't really share with my personal story, like all the things I'm involved with, but my wife and I are foster parents, so we always have a number of kids coming through our house. Just very active on the family front, because that's my why. So I built my business plan around that. So I actually probably, hired an assistant when I was at probably 50, 60 GCI. Our average sale price here is about, 200,000. At the time, I couldn't take on a full-time assistant. So we actually shared with another agent here in our office, kind of shared duties just to kind of offset the cost. Since then, it's worked out that, her business has gone a different direction, and mine has gone a different direction as well too. So Angela works for me now part-time. But it's more so than I felt like I was losing opportunities. So I wasn't really focused on I've got to get to 100 GCI before I can hire this person. I knew that with the tools and the tech and the stuff that we're talking about now, I didn't have the time or the want to figure everything out, or the consistency and self-accountability to get it out there every day. So for me, it was an investment. I wish I would have done it when I was at 25,000 GCI, just so I can get that ball rolling a lot quicker.
Love it. Stacy, so what's the story of you deciding you wanted to have a team and hire some help?
Great question. So I like to think I fumbled my way up. It's an interesting question too, because we're all starting this business, and for me, I didn't have a background in business. So the logistics of setting things up was something that I struggled with. So eventually what happened, and like Drew was saying, sometimes it's more transactional than it is gross commission earned. So I had been licensed and selling real estate for about 7 years, and I put through, I think it was that year, 72 ends. And doing that alone was a really difficult and tough experience. At the time, my mother was helping me with bookkeeping and some items in the back end. So I essentially begged her to get her license. I think, I was scared with respect to trust and knowing that somebody would be in the same mind frame that I was from, offering service to our clients. So mom got her license. Shortly after that, I approached Tammy as the business was growing. And then actually we hired administration last. So I don't recommend that as the best strategy moving forward. If you're looking to build a business, I think Drew's approach is probably a much wiser first game, which is to get administration help to help push you to the forefront, because you know, as realtors, I think we get in this business to be in front of people and to service our clients. And I know that we're doing that much better now with support in the back end, without a doubt. But that's my true story of how it happened. If I did it all over again, I would maybe do it differently, but it's worked out really well regardless.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Okay, so Drew, let's go back to you. How has the RE/MAX brand helped you with your personal promotion?
Sure. Well, I go back to when I started 6.5 years ago. So not only was I brand new to real estate, but I was also brand new to Indianapolis. So I moved here, started a new career. Honestly, didn't know what I was doing, but the RE/MAX brand itself just gave me the credibility. I know that sounds cheesy, but it truly did. Going forth through there, I get teased a lot. Today is like the first day in a month I actually wore a button collar up. It's normally like a RE/MAX sweatshirt or a RE/MAX ball cap or something like that. But it's so true. I mean, I get a lot of business, or at least conversations, just off of the brand recognition. This morning at Panera, Jim and I have been trying to get one of their team leaders to become a RE/MAX agent for, I don't know, quite a while now. So, I mean, that all started because I gave him a free pair. He liked my sunglasses. So I gave him a free pair of my RE/MAX sunglasses, and we've struck up that conversation, for the last 6 months. So whether it's at the baseball field, I'm coaching third base for my kids wearing a RE/MAX sweatshirt, or picking up my kids from aftercare and a RE/MAX ball cap. That brand is recognized, worldwide. So it's led to a lot of conversations, if not, ultimately business.
Awesome. Stacy, how about you?
As far as the brand, can you just repeat the question? I was so in tune to what Drew was saying. I forgot.
No, that's okay. I knew everyone, we always learn from each other on these panels for sure. So how has the RE/MAX brand helped you with your own personal promotion, whether it was in the beginning or now or both?
Yeah, so definitely, like Drew said, in the beginning was huge for me. I was very young. I was 23 when I got my license, and doing things on your own, having that brand behind you was that little piece that left, people with the answer to a question already, right? So like they associated RE/MAX with, you knew what you were doing. And so that solidified things for me as far as the brand was concerned. The training and resources were important, but I think in a small community too, when you are working at a brokerage that stands, proud, people appreciate that sign on their yard, so to speak, right? So I think it helped me out a lot in the beginning, and now as I'm growing my business, it's helping me to establish that and take the next steps moving forward, and it's recognizable everywhere, and that was a huge piece for sure.
That's fantastic. So definitely wear your RE/MAX swag no matter where you go. There are countless stories out there like Drew's where you will get approached, you will get business. Everyone knows what RE/MAX is. So I love these stories. That's great. All right, Stacy, we'll start with you this time. So what are your 3 favorite RE/MAX tools or apps or offerings or anything in marketing? How do you use them, and share some of your strategies behind that?
Yeah, absolutely. We really appreciate some of the blogging that RE/MAX does. So as a team, we do a monthly newsletter, and we pull a lot of information from our RE/MAX sources to include in those newsletters. And we find that people really appreciate it, and it goes a long way. The content is very well done, and it's well received as too. I can show you just quickly, if you'd like, some of the branding and marketing material that we use and what it looks like with RE/MAX, just to give you an idea. So I know a lot of people are doing branding pieces too. And for us, Sarah being in background in marketing, she knew that RE/MAX still needed to stand proud. So I see a lot of brands people creating, and they sort of eliminate that RE/MAX element. And I think that's a bit of a mistake. I think you need to keep that in the back end as something that you push forward from a client's perspective. So we use a lot of their marketing pieces, a lot of the logos and everything, and then we just try and integrate it into our sort of marketing and branding as well, as one. So the brand is huge for that reason. We use a lot of good resources for receiving leads. I find the RE/MAX website is a great lead generating source, and so we're happy with that as well. And then design center. So say, for instance, you're doing brochures or folders or things of that nature, and you need those for property listings. It's great. I know they've added in some additional resources for social media, which is lovely as well. And I think especially if you're newer to the business, you need to take those tools and you need to use them to just start. You know, it gives you a really good base to work with and something to begin your business building for sure.
Thank you. And I need to put a disclaimer on this question to this panel because, you know, first of all, the RE/MAX toolbox is huge. There's a vast amount of resources available inside of it. We have some crossover between the US and Canada, and then Canada has things that we don't and vice versa for different reasons, whether it's MLS or listing syndication and how it works differently. So neither one is right or wrong. So I just want to put a disclaimer on that. So when we asked Drew, he may mention some things that may not be available in Canada, but like I said, I know you have some great things there that we don't have here. So just want to put that out there. So Drew, what are your favorite apps and tools in the RE/MAX system, and how do you utilize those in your business?
Sure. So like Stacy said, Design Center is huge, and it's come a long way. In the last 5 years, the thing that I like the most about it now is that, excuse me, it goes ahead and pulls in all the information for my listing. So I get that email that my marketing package is ready. And I mean, it makes me look like a hero to my listing clients. Like, yeah, I've already built you a website, and check out all these awesome, my marketing team has been at work on these things, and, we're ready to go. And it's just, plug and play from that point. So we'll do a lot of just listed postcards straight out of there. It takes 15 minutes to get them out the door. The websites, that we can share is really good too. So within Max Center as well, I like using the resources, the seller guides and the buyer guide packets. When I do I do quarterly kind of market updates, like quick CMAs for my sphere of influence. And then anybody who's reached out for a home valuation through any of our, online marketing ads throughout the year, I'll send them quarterly updates. But then, coming right now, it's our end of Q3 update. So I'll send a seller packet through there. Hey, if you're thinking about getting on the market in spring, here's a checklist of things that, a buyer might look at, just to kind of go in there. And, again, I like, I am my own independent contractor, but I rely heavily on the RE/MAX brand. So we add my stuff to that RE/MAX stuff, but I want that RE/MAX brand to still be prominent. So we got there. The other two that I'm really digging into now, which I understand is just a US thing at this point. Number one is Megaphone. I spoke with them a little bit out in at R4 this year, was really excited about it, but then, some stuff happened this spring where things kind of screeched to a halt. So I didn't look into it too much at that point. But I really, business was really well here for us and for me in particular this summer. So I started looking into Megaphone a lot more. So I'm running automated ads on all my new listings when they first come on the market, when we do an open house, a price reduction, or a just sold. And since July, I've gotten, hundreds of leads. And, some of the feedback is like, they're not really leads, they're just people clicking, but it's somebody who is interested enough in looking at that. So I can use that in a couple ways. I put them into my CRM, they go into a program, when the time's right, maybe they'll reach out to me. So I have had some success with that so far. The thing I'm really leveraging with Megaphone is the reporting. So it's how many impressions did this listing get? How many people clicked on it? How many people wanted further information? So one, I can go back to my sellers and say, hey, 14,000 people saw this, 2,000 clicked on it, and I got 200 leads from this. So I was telling Michelle last week when she did a Megaphone class for us, I had an overpriced listing. We tried to test out the market a little bit, and we were a little overpriced. So I could show them that, we had 14,000 people and we didn't get any offers on it. That's telling us, people are interested in enough, but maybe not quite at that price. Let's adjust down. And sure enough, we did. They appreciated the data. They knew I was working hard, and, we got it under contract. Also, use that same information when you're going out to do a listing presentation. Every agent now is going to say, yeah, I advertise on social media. Are they just doing a, MLS feed share to their Facebook friends of 170 people and calling that advertising? Or are they using a company that's not just targeting the area that home is in, but they're going through the analytics of the type of people? They could be, in Southern Indiana, but that algorithm knows that they're moving to Indy and they need this type of house. So I can show them all the data. We get an average of 15,000 views on each listing and so many leads and so on and so forth. It just sets you apart. So enough on Megaphone. Sorry, I'm a rambler. The last one is First. And right now I am just, paid for it for 2 months. I got my 90 days free. So I've got 1 month left of my free time before I start paying for it. So I'm really digging into it. The great thing about First is that it's showing me a lot of where my missed opportunities are. So for those who don't know, is First in Canada or no? No. Okay. So for those who don't know, you put all of your contacts, whether it be in your phone or your email account. So I have thousands of people in there. And then if they list a home at some point, it's going to tell you. So within there, it shows, I've got this year, 8 of my contacts have listed with me. So 1, but the one that is a kick in the pants is I have 29 missed opportunities. So now that's pulling in people that have been on my phone since, 2004. Some of these people are people who filled out a lead sheet in 2014 that we never connected with. But there's a lot of people that, I worked with 12 years ago. I knew they lived in Indianapolis, but I never took the time to reach out and say, hey, I'm in Indy now. I'm a real estate agent now. If you ever need help or if you need questions answered, I'm your guy. So as we're going into our Q4, so we're doing a thing here at office, a Happy New Year's party. We're doing that next week. So we're starting our 2021 New Year on October 6th or 7th next week. So as I'm going into prospecting, those people are my number 1 prospects. Those people that it'll tell you if they're a 1, 2, or 3. 3s are, their algorithm tells you that they're probably thinking about moving in the next 90 days. So those are my people I'm targeting. I'm just using that data that they've attracted, and it's got their phone, their address, their email, everything in there. So that's my 3 long-winded answers.
No, that's great. So I just want to clarify a little bit for those of you from Ontario Atlantic asking about Megaphone and First. And so Megaphone is a tool that's exclusive to RE/MAX through a company called HomeSnap here in the US. And what it is, it's an easier way to place social media ads. So it really is similar to what Facebook does. So I don't want you to feel like you're missing out, because you can post an ad on Facebook and get all those same insights that Drew is talking about. So utilize those when you're placing Facebook ads, especially listing ads. Make sure you're utilizing those and sharing those with your seller. I know you have other resources and other reporting that you can get from various lead sources. The sellers like to see that Drew really tells a great story, and this is a great way to get them to reduce the price when they want a price really high, because yes, when everyone's looking, no one's offering, that's always what's going to be the end result or what the conclusion is. So it's RE/MAX First is definitely along the lines of predictive analytics. So you may have similar tools. I know Toronto's a huge tech hub, so I'm sure there's probably similar programs where there's all kinds of apps that analyze behaviors on social media and their likeliness to move and like basically what their buying behaviors are and what they're posting on social media. So that's what First does. It just takes your existing database and kind of follows around what some of the things that they're doing and uses a rating system. So we can't speak for RE/MAX LLC. I don't know when or if those tools or something similar to it is coming to Canada, but those are what's available here for us. And just wanted to kind of clarify that. But like I said, Megaphone is just like placing Facebook ads. It's just a tool to help speed that along and ease the process. And then look into predictive analytics. Maybe it's available in your area. So thank you.
Yeah, and I will say real quick, we're using Megaphone now just it's a tool that's available to us and it's saving us time. But for a long time, we've been doing our own Facebook ads, and just doing the ads isn't enough. The ad management dashboard or whatever within the Facebook platform, it has all that data in there. So make sure you're actually going through and looking at, how many views are you getting? Is it sharing? Is it, is there any nugget in there that I can share with my seller to either, get a price adjustment if you need to, or can you leverage that to get another listing, showing, that you're truly a professional?
Absolutely. So one of the things I wanted to talk about primarily is when you have these RE/MAX tools that you absolutely love and use on a regular basis, how do you talk about them in listing presentations? We'll start with you, Stacy.
Yeah, as far as the listing presentation is concerned, those tools that we use from RE/MAX are best put to work in the presentation itself. So like I said, you know, the branding, the content, a little bit of background and history about the brokerage itself, other items like that we find are extremely useful. As far as tools from a listing presentation standpoint, we have a listing presentation that we've modified. We took all the content that RE/MAX provided, and Sarah was able just to reformat it a little bit to personalize things so that we can streamline the information. And it's a little bit more of a branding tool from our team's perspective. So, you know, there's a lot of grab and go, which is really nice as well. And I find that that's what's very easy for us here to be able to utilize as far as a resource is concerned. So whether it's feature sheets or a listing presentation that you've done, maybe you've driven by, you've already taken a picture of the outside of the house, and then you're uploading that into the folder page for the listing presentation, and you're showing up to the presentation with a branded piece of content that already has a picture of the property in it. And, you know, there's a little bit of a wow factor there. And I think in my market, I'm surprised at the number of people that don't utilize the tools, because there are so many of them and it's so easy and it's so straightforward to get going that, especially for new realtors, I think you can set up an entire package and look like a true success with the tools that RE/MAX provides to you. So, you know, do utilize them.
Thank you. Drew, you're on mute. There you go.
Yep, I'm back. Hey, so yeah, kind of the same thing. I went into this, you know, my first listing presentation was, I'm sure, a train wreck for the people that I had to do, because I had this huge stack of like everything about 1974, Dave Liniger, da da da. Like, I learned over time, people, they want to know how, you know, what I'm going to do to market their house, how much money they're going to make, and how quick is it going to happen. So, you know, we've kind of scaled everything down, but at the same point, it looks very professional. Like Stacy said, you know, we use the RE/MAX branding. I use, you know, seller reports or seller guides, put a little information about me, and then it's just a quick list. We have a list of 25 things that we're going to do to get their home sold. You know, a majority of those being the tools, you know, provided by RE/MAX. You know, megaphone ads, the design center package, all of that. And then also have, you know, have it queued up if you have a, you know, an iPad, or, you know, I just have it on my phone. Like, here's what I did with the listing, you know, that we put on the market last week. Here's the ads we ran. Check out this. Like, we have these immediate that you can share to your coworkers and family. Here's the ads we ran. Here's how many responses we got, you know, actually showing them. Cause like I said, everybody is a social media guru now, and they aren't really, they're just sharing it on their thing. So, I mean, to show them that, wow, I have 14,000 people that might actually be interested in buying this house, seeing it, instead of, you know, Drew's college buddies and guys he played high school football with. Like, it's just, it's a different world. So I try to keep it compact, but bring tangible, whether it be through an app on the phone or sharing a screen, or our, you know, our hard pieces, our, you know, postcards that we send out. I bring a few of those with us as well too.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on listing presentations? If not, we still have a lot to talk about. So, oh, go ahead, Stacy.
Say, if it's okay.
Sure.
Part of the benefits of the RE/MAX brand is the simplicity in the logo as well. So I find people are very visual, right? Everything now is sort of snap of a finger. You know, its imagery is important. So if you're going to create a listing presentation, I would utilize the branding as much as possible, but I would keep it very simple. Not a lot of words, a lot of visuals. I would have potentially a hard copy presentation and an iPad. So when you come to the appointment, you can select whichever you feel that particular client might want to do, and then just use it as a visual aid. So, you know, a lot of pre-printed content is probably not necessary, but a good, strong few visual aids, and obviously, you know, the information for the comparative analysis as well. But I would just keep it simple. That is my recommendation from a listing presentation standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Great, thank you so much. Let me just take a quick peek at questions. Let's see. I think we're okay right now. Okay, all right, so let's talk a little bit about leads and database. So we'll start with you on this one, Stacy. So what is your primary lead source? What database do you use, or CRM, and how do you stay in touch and manage all of that?
So everyone does things a little bit differently. There are a few CRM programs that are offered here in Canada. We've utilized them, but for us, actually, we just keep it simple. So we have an ongoing Excel spreadsheet that Sarah manages. We use MailChimp to export all the email addresses, and we do a monthly newsletter to touch base with our database. We're a very personal business. So for us, we spend a lot of time and energy on client events, client thank yous. We touch our database as much as possible. So those are key features for us. We generate probably 90% of our business on repeat and referral, and that is strictly from the database for sure. And it makes a huge difference. And we just stay in touch with people. You know, we don't call them on their birthdays or call them on their wedding anniversaries. We haven't taken it to that extent. But we do communicate with them. We tell them, you know, we give them our thanks, which they do appreciate. And unfortunately with COVID, we haven't been able to do any client events, but we do an abundance of them all year, usually spring, fall, and winter. And we find that getting in front of people is key. So as long as our face is fresh in their mind, then, you know, generally we're the person that they call, we hope.
Great, thank you. Drew, let's talk your primary source of leads and how you're managing all that in your database and what RE/MAX tools you might utilize to do that.
Sure. So again, 90% of mine business comes from past clients, referrals, sphere of influence. Again, we do a lot of the client events as well too. The strategy on that we take is we plan it out a year ahead of time. Like we've had Donut with Santa. We've had Santa on hold since like last July for next December. Like it's all planning ahead. You know, the RE/MAX tools we use for that, you know, like you mentioned, the blog content, we do a monthly newsletter. We actually use that through BombBomb. So we bring a lot of those resources into BombBomb, but then I can put a video at the top, and so they get to see this pretty face once a month. We do, so with COVID, we aren't having as many parties, but in years past, we've done, let me grab one real quick. We do growler events at a local brewery. So it's got, logo and all the RE/MAX stuff on there. They can come in and have food and go home with a branded growler of beer on us. And we've done that for probably 4 years in a row now. In the fall, we do a pumpkin patch where we've opened it up to public too. And we do it with all of our agents for that one. So there's, thousands of people there in the past, but we had the balloon come, the branding of that is just huge. This year things are a little different. So instead of pumpkin patch, we've got, 1,000 pumpkins being delivered next Thursday. So Angela and I are going to be going out next Friday and delivering those to our clients and just leaving them on their porch and socially distancing and all of that. So yeah, that's really, where we get a lot of ours from. You got to try to find that balance of, I don't want my dentist calling me all the time and wishing me happy birthday and happy anniversary. That's just kind of awkward and stuff. But so we take a little bit of a softer approach on that. We do birthday cards. So we have everybody's birthday, in our CRM. So we'll send out, all the Octobers on, October 1st. So we'll just send the month out. We also do that with home anniversaries. So we'll send all your happy home anniversary cards out on October 1st. Simple things like that. Then they're getting a market report of their neighborhood every quarter, monthly newsletters, and then we do a number of events and volunteer type things throughout the year too that shows that we're part of the community with a balance of, hey, you're getting the market reports and the newsletters, like Drew knows what he's talking about too. So finding the balance there. As far as, that other 10%, it's, online leads, I'll just use megaphone leads because that's kind of what I've been working real hard since July. It's having a program, not just getting the leads, but once you have them, what's the plan to do that? So, I get those leads into my CRM, and then they go through a 10-step new lead system. And then once they go through that, then they go into a drip lead type system. And, they're in there for, I think my program's set up for 10 years. So you never know when those people are going to turn into something. And if they, keep getting content, every few months throughout the next decade, they could turn into something. But I think the key is actually using, whether it's a spreadsheet like Stacy uses or a CRM like I use, just have that, garbage in, garbage out type mentality. If you, have a plan in place, a program, a goal of what you want to do, especially if you're spending money on leads. I see some people that spend thousands a month on like Zillow leads and things like that, but once they call them the first time or, don't connect on that first try, they're gone. I mean, that's just a waste of money. Have a plan, a program in place. And, REMAX has a lot of different, resources on, Max Center and resources through, just, collaborating with other agents in your office. If you don't have a plan, reach out to me. I'll help share any of that stuff.
Thank you. So we are getting a couple of individuals have asked. Jeff has asked, as well as Jerry, how many people do you have in your database? That's a really good question. Stacy, we'll start with you.
Yeah, no problem. So we manage a database of clients only, and then a database of prospects and business contacts. So our client only database is about 200 families. So that equates to, 400 or 500 people, but we keep it relatively tight. And we manage it every quarter, whether it be adding new people in, addressing whether or not maybe somebody listed with someone else. So we address it quarterly, but we're managing about a database of about 200. And that works very well, especially from a budgeting perspective for events and things of that nature. So that's the number that we're doing from database. I did see another question about what's being done for events with COVID. And just as an example, so we have a client that owns a flower shop in town. And just recently was able to reopen her doors. So we sent all of our database a $25 gift certificate and a nice formatted card via mail for them to go and be able to purchase, a potted plant or a flower, something of that nature. So that worked really well. Every year we've always done the Christmas tree farm. So we buy all our clients Christmas trees. We meet it at a big local Christmas tree farm. Everybody comes, they get a coupon for their tree, and then the Christmas tree farm collects that upon them leaving. So things like that, similar to Drew, the pumpkins, that sort of thing. We don't thank people once, we thank them forever. So when you're in the database and you are a client, you are forever being thanked. And we find that makes a huge difference moving forward. So it's unexpected. When it's something unexpected, people are extremely, elated by that. And I think that they really appreciate it for sure.
Great. Drew, how about you? What is your magic number on your database?
So, I have everything separated into what's called buckets. So, the database that gets all of our, sphere of influence, past client type stuff, we try to keep that like 150, 200, just to make it manageable, cost effective, things like that. Outside of that, there are, close to 5,000 different people in our database, but they're all on different programs. Some of those are, new leads that came in yesterday. So they're going to have a very aggressive 10-step program over the next 2 weeks. And then some are, leads from, last fall that are in a different campaign where they're getting something every 3 months, and it's, a soft touch thing. So, again, it goes back to how you set up your database and your CRM that you're using. That lead that came in last night isn't going to be the same program of somebody who, filled out a form 4 years ago. But there's no reason to not have them still getting your newsletter. And, if they opt out, that's fine. But I find that very few people do actually opt out if you keep the information, entertaining for one and informational. So.
Great, thank you. Loving all the questions and the interaction. There's a couple of comments and questions on Facebook too. We'll get to those in just a second. So let's talk social media more specifically. So we'll start with you, Stacy, this time, and talk to us about how you use the REMAX brand on social media and what kind of posts that you're doing out there.
I muted myself, sorry, there was some background noise there.
Okay.
From a social media perspective, I think you have to, as a realtor, take into consideration your personality prior to making an attempt with social media. So for me, I'm not one to share my personal life, right? I like to keep that fairly private. And I know there's this big movement for sharing all your information with other people, letting them see a little bit about you and what you're doing. And I understand that. But for us, it's business only. We keep it it's maybe dry, the content. We've taken the infographics that REMAX produces and we've just modified them slightly for our own branding. And we utilize those as well for social media. I can always provide the link to Facebook or Instagram if needed, but it's mostly all business all the time because we're sort of the mindset that our clients are paying us to advertise their house. And so that's what we're there to do. So we focus on the listings and the valuable content more than we do ourselves. So Everybody has a little bit of a different approach, but for us, it's all business. We do a lot of Facebook ads, boosts as well, depending. But we're doing that based on the house, based on the location, and based on the target market. So when we boost or do an advertisement for a listing, we're actually thinking about who is the buyer, right? So it's not about, you know, just boosting that ad or putting an ad out to the community locally. What we want to do is we want to think about where's that buyer prospect coming from, and then we put the information in that location instead. And we find that that has a greater return on lead sources and whatnot from a social media perspective. But other than that, as far as the branding is concerned, it's always there. It's always front and center, and we've made that very clear. So I think that has a huge bearing on the validity of us as a team and people's first impression when they see that. They sort of know, okay, you know, these girls mean business, and it shines through. We hope anyways, that's the impression.
Now you mentioned Facebook, Stacy. What other social platforms do you, are you active on?
Yeah, so we've sort of picked our poison. We do Facebook and Instagram, and that's it. We don't do TikTok. We don't do Twitter. My teenage daughter does TikTok very well, but I have no interest in it whatsoever. So I get videos, you know, now and again, and I just shake my head thinking, my goodness, is this really what the world's coming to? But yeah, so we are strictly Instagram and Facebook, and we run them in tandem. They're very similar.
Okay, thank you. So Drew, how are you using the RE/MAX brand or resources on social media?
Sure. So we, all the content we put out there, like, you know, whatever graphic gets put together, we'll always have the RE/MAX logo, one of the two, down on the bottom, my information, my name, not overpowering, like Stacy said, just keep it simple. So everything's got a consistent feel to it. We've been doing Facebook for, you know, a while, 4 or 5 years probably. Instagram, we just kind of started, I'd say, over the last 2 months or so, getting consistent where we're posting pretty much daily, at least 5 times a week. And it's more tips of, you know, how to organize, you know, more like, I don't know, I think people are kind of getting drowned out of the check out my new listing. This baby won't last more than 3 days. And like, those are getting kind of old and played out. So we've kind of taken a different approach. Like, how can we, you know, help homeowners and home buyers with, you know, some information and make it fun at the same point. I respect Stacy's, you know, view, you know, kind of keeping it all business. I've taken a different approach to it. Obviously, I don't share everything, but, you know, part of my niche is I want to work with, I've always said the 30s, but I just turned 40 on Friday. But my niche is like the 30 to 50-year-old minivan driving dad going to the baseball field. Like, I want people, that's who I work with. Like, I've got a guitar hanging on my, like, I'm just a laid back guy. Those are the people I like working with. So, you know, if I can share some of my personal stuff that says, oh, he's just like me. I feel like I've grown my sphere a lot that way. You know, that stuff isn't getting me, you know, a lead where I put them in a program to where I follow up with them, but it's getting my exposure out there. So I do live in Indianapolis, but I live in a section of Indianapolis called Lawrence, and it's, you know, it's a city within a city, but, you know, with my kids going to school there now and, you know, going to church there for years and, you know, being a participant in sports and things like that, it's the city's becoming smaller and smaller and smaller, and people are starting to know me as not just the dad, but, you know, also a RE/MAX, you know, agent as well too. So we try to mix it up a little bit.
Sounds good. You're getting a happy birthday shout out from our friend Anna. She's from the core region. So thanks, Anna, for that. So we're having an online birthday party. So I saw a couple questions come in, which leads us into our next question for you, is to talk about some of the other marketing methods you're doing. You did touch on some of it. We've talked a lot about online and social media and various ways, and postcards have been mentioned. Have either of you done any actual farming recently? And if so, what RE/MAX approved suppliers, if any, that you're using for that?
Drew, do you want to go out first?
Sorry, Drew.
So so kind of, you know, no fault of anyone but my own. I have been very inconsistent with my farming efforts over the last 2 or 3 years. Farming is not something that I can do for 2 months and then forget about for 6 months and then start it back up again. It just doesn't work that way. What we have done is, you know, trying to get away from the, you know, the postcards going out to the same neighborhoods over and over, and just with the information that's available through, you know, data collectors like First.io and things like that, we can really target ads into like just my zip code and different areas like that. Now Facebook's constantly changing the ways and the regulations of how you can do that. So you have to adjust, but you know, farming for me really hasn't been huge, but at the same point, you know, I kind of farm the little sub-city I live in, Lawrence, Indiana, just by being present. That's where all my ads are going out to, just trying to do as much in my little area as possible, whether it be open house signs out on top of everything else.
Nice. Stacy, how about you? Any efforts in farming?
Yeah, so in the last couple of years, we have consistently done postcards, but we do just solds, and we do them only to the postal code that the listing was in, and we do a double-edged sword. So what we do is we do a just sold on one side of the postcard, and then on the other, we do information about our team and the services we provide. So there's a reason for us to send it, and the people recognize the property because it's within their postal code region. And then on the other side is all the information if you want to get a hold of us, like just as an example. So just to show you. So this would be the back end of the postcard that they would receive. And then on the flip side would be the property that just sold, and we do it immediately. So it's not an old listing, you know, they're still driving by the sign with the sold on top. We've done that. And we're farming our database right now because our market's extremely hot where we are. So we make those calls, and we know that people stay in their house generally between 5 and 7 years. So if we have a buyer that's looking for something specific, we're scouring the database and we're making that call to our client to say, hey, listen, do you want to move? Because you probably should. And so we've been having those conversations, which is great, but those are two big tools for us. And I have to be honest, the postcards, when they have a purpose, work really well.
Sounds good. So since we're talking about prospecting, we can shift gears a little bit. What have you done that has not worked? Now, I know you've kind of, both of you have touched on a little bit of this, but this could be fun. So Drew, we'll start with you. What have you tried in marketing or prospecting that just didn't pan out?
Gosh. Well, let me phrase this, but I think anything can work. And I always try to tell that, like when new agents come in, anything that you've heard of, whether it's door knocking or calling on FSBOs or calling expireds, any of those works. And we have success stories of all those things in our office ourselves. So, you know, anything that hasn't worked for me is just because it's been my fault. Whether it's been, you know, we put together this great FSBO plan that we had this binder made and this program, we're going to do this and that, but I didn't stay consistent with it. It wasn't fun. It wasn't the way I wanted to grow my business. And I don't know, I didn't like it. So it fell off that. Kind of with geo farming, you know, we do farm like our database, but like picking a neighborhood or 3 neighborhoods, one, that gets very expensive real quick if you're doing, you know, 1,500 postcards a month, every single month, waiting for a return. So I was getting frustrated and it just wasn't as fun. So I don't know, I like to take my, you know, my resources, my time, my money, kind of reinvest it back into where I'm getting all my business from anyway and let that grow. So that, you know, that goes back into my sphere of influence in the client parties and things like that. But I don't know, my biggest fail is probably FSBOs, and it's just because I didn't like it, but yeah.
I like that. You're taking ownership of that.
Oh yeah.
Stacy, how about you? Do you have any good stories to share with maybe what not to do in prospecting?
Yeah, I think if you're going to spend money, it's probably best to do some research on what the product is that you're potentially purchasing. So my 2 epic fails, I think from a marketing perspective, were one, I bought into this phone call where someone was offering like this magnet for your fridge, and they were selling it at the local home hardware store, and it was like $1,000, and they were going to print 10,000 of them. And, you know, did you want to be on the ad? They're going to be going out. And then, so I bought it, and then it was like 6 realtors on the
Yeah, I've made some mistakes. Yeah.
Right. And I thought, oh, great. That was smart. And then I think actually a funny epic fail of mine was I sponsored an entire hockey team that was coached by a realtor. So that was probably not the best decision from a marketing perspective. But you know what? I always said, as long as you guys win, that's all that matters.
Wow. Well, you should have tried to recruit him or her, whoever the coach was.
Yeah.
For sure. So feel free to ask questions. We're on the home stretch. We're going to start wrapping up in just about 5 minutes or so. So I want to talk a little bit about prospecting in general. From the time you got in the business to now, share with us some thoughts about some of those changes, and especially this year and what's happened. We'll start with you, Stacy.
Yeah, I mean, A lot has changed in the world, right? And I think depending geographically and demographically where you live, your market might differ from mine. Mine is extremely hot right now. So, you know, we go through these phases of fear and growth and, you know, conflict and all of those experiences that we've faced. So it's new for all of us, I think. As far as prospecting, I think the best advice that I can give to people in 2020 is get off your computer. You know, get in front of people. I know you really can't, but to some degree you need to touch people. And I think that, you know, whether it's picking up the phone or FaceTiming someone or getting in front of them, that's more important. You can't sit back, produce content and wait for people to come to you. You still need to grind it out. I mean, you got in this business because you wanted to work with people and be part of the biggest transaction of their lives. So you need to still find a way to get in front of the people. And that's your best prospecting tool is yourself. You know, get up, get dressed, brush your hair, find something to do and get in front of people.
Wow, that's great. We'll have to put that on a quote on a social media post.
Yeah, get dressed and brush your hair. I say that obviously because I have too much hair, but yeah.
She's like, my work is done here. Great tips and great advice. Drew, let's talk about prospecting. How has it changed from the time you got in the business to today and what's going on?
Well, it's crazy. I've only been in the business like 6.5 years and I feel like it's changed a lot. Like I remember starting and, you know, people saying, don't ever text message anyone. It's super inappropriate and unprofessional. And I mean, I look at my numbers from last week. I looked this morning, I'd sent 130 text messages last week to like just random online leads and set 2 appointments. Like, so it works and it's really easy. It's copy and paste and whatever. But those are people I don't have, you know, rapport with. But like Stacy said, I mean, our best prospecting is just getting in front of our past clients, our friends, and just, you know, being out and about. So we do, you know, like I said, the client parties, but I also like to take people to lunch or meet for a drink after work or coffees in the morning and things like that. And I don't know, just have fun with this. Like, prospecting is different for everybody. You know, part of being able to build our own business the way we want to is, you know, what works for you works for you. So I know I don't like door knocking. I'm not going to do it ever again unless I have to. But, you know, find other ways that I enjoy. So, you know, some of the goes back to, you know, prospect the way you want to be prospected. I hate getting phone calls, you know, at 7:30 at night about something random. Like, so I don't do that a lot, but you know what? There's value there. I mean, we have agents here in our office that just crush it that way. And, you know, they're not annoying. They bring tremendous value and sell a ton of homes and, you know, really help out their clients. So there is no wrong way, but whatever you're comfortable with, just go all in with it.
Yeah, I agree too. You have to think about your personality and what your best qualities are, and you have to align your prospecting with that as well. I mean, if you can take a no after no after no, then go door knocking. But, you know, I think you just have to consider what your best outlet is and work with that. You don't have to do it all. Just keep it simple.
Right.
Yeah. And you have to start. That's sometimes the hardest part.
Yep.
No, that's fantastic. So I see a lot of comments coming in about a couple of questions. A couple of individuals asked about closing or thank you gifts. Do either of you, what do you do or what have you done in the past? And looks like Drew's reaching for something. Oh, we get a show and tell. By the way, Stacy, will you be willing to share your marketing postcard and maybe send me a PDF of it and I can send it out in the follow-up?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
That would be awesome. Okay, so Drew, what do you have for us?
So for closing gifts, Matt, one of our staff members here, is also an awesome photographer. So he does these frames. So this one spells like home. Most of the time he does like their last name. So they would have a cool one with dials. So that's kind of neat. So before we do a walkthrough, I'll go to the house early and I'll put it on the mantle or I'll find a place. So they're actually getting that closing gift, you know, before we actually go to the closing, which is cool. And then, you know, thank yous, that can be, you know, gift cards. I would rather just do like hey, let me take you out to dinner or let's meet for coffee type of conversational thank you. But that's pretty much what we do for everything.
Okay, sounds good. Stacy.
Yeah, it used to be lots of hugs, but no hugging. So that's really been an issue for me, to be honest with you. But like I said earlier too, we do client gifts. So or client parties and semi-annual things. So once you're in, you're in. It's almost as though we don't do something specifically on closing because it gets a little tricky and it gets a little tedious and every client's different and every moving experience is different. So you know, if they're moving in with the moving truck and then someone's showing up with a gift basket and they don't know where to put it or whatever the case may be. So we just always thank them. And I think that that's maybe the difference between, you know, being transactional and just moving from one client to the other. Once you're in, you're in, and you're in for life. So
for sure. No, that sounds great.
Mhm.
Last call for questions, everyone. I'm just taking a quick peek at the Facebook audience to see. Mark Jess asks a question, Drew. I think it might be an inside joke though. So any idea, that's someone in his office, any ideas about avoiding the Charlie Brown effect in real estate? So
Okay, yeah. So Mark Jess, one of our top agents here, and not just in our office, but in all of Indianapolis, has a Charlie Brown effect approach. It's something you want to stay away with, actually. So it's the ups and downs, like Charlie Brown's shirt. And I'm getting a lot of looks into the
right
window.
there.
We're so professional. Yeah. So the Charlie Brown effect is like, I'm going to go hard, go hard, go hard, go hard. I'm at the top of the world. I'm all rich and looking good. And then I haven't done any prospecting, so I fall back down. So with that too, you know, you get to the bottom, then you go back up again. So with that too is your emotions. So you get super ecstatic when you're at the top of the world and then super down when you're at the bottom. So the goal is to just kind of be consistent straight across, the calendar year. So there you go, Mark Jess. Yeah, shout out.
wow, that's good. Well, that's better than I thought. I was a little concerned for a minute there.
Oh yeah. No, Mark. Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
exactly. So Julie is asking on Facebook, what is the 10-step program? Stacy, was that, I think that was you that mentioned it, correct?
10-step program?
Yeah. How am I don't know what, I'm not sure, Julie.
Oh, maybe it was for my follow-up.
Oh, that's
if I
what,
get a new online,
probably.
they go into like a 10-step program. So that's basically it's, you know, initial, you know, I'll try, if I have a phone number, I'm going to try to call them. Actually, I've been texting first a lot lately, you know, it's allowed now. But I get people to respond a lot more with texting. And then it, you know, once that signals that I've completed that in my CRM, it goes on to step 2. So whether it's wait a day, send them this email that's nice to virtually meet you, and it tells a little bit about my business and things like that. And then once that's done, it just goes through 10 different steps between, you know, video emails, regular emails, phone calls, and text messages. And then once that's done, it moves into another kind of a long-term follow-up play. And the goal is to get them out of that 10-step program as soon as you can into like a short-term lead or a long-term lead, you know, set an appointment, you know, that way. So I'm happy to share any of that if
yeah,
Michelle,
please do. If you want to send it to me, I'll send it to everyone to follow up. But the key is just getting creative with it. You don't try to call them 10 times in a row. They're going to end up blocking you because they'll think you're a spam call. You want to, I love texting first is the way to go. Most people are going to respond right away to that, or Facebook Messenger, that little ping, that ping sound that we all hear that we know. I see some really nice comments. So Eric Perrin says, since we are Remax and have the hot air balloon, I do a champagne bottle for a closing gift like they give after a hot air balloon ride. The response is amazing. That's awesome, Eric. So thanks for sharing that. And some really, Anastasia says, she likes Stacy's comment, once you are in, you're in. Thanks for the great takeaway. Anastasia's also asking, any easy, cost-effective CRM tools you can recommend? So we didn't get into specifics on CRMs, but if you'd both like to share, and once again, one might be US, one might be Canada, but feel free. So Stacy, what actual database management program are you using?
Yeah, good question. So we were using Exact Contact for a number of years, but to be honest with you, for me, simplicity is key. We're very task orientated, and there's a lot of elements that we didn't utilize. I think Drew would probably have some better resources as far as CRM for that constant contact, right? And the leads, you know, following up with the leads. So maybe he can comment. But right now for us, we use a working Excel spreadsheet that keeps all the content, and that's an exportable spreadsheet. So you can put that into any other program, whether it's MailChimp or a CRM, but we haven't found something that works magically for us. And I mean, I don't want to say that Sarah is the CRM because it sounds terrible, but she manages that database. She manages the information, the input, the output. And so she becomes a little bit of our background CRM, which means there's a human there, and it helps.
Thank you. Drew, how about you?
Yeah, so I use a CRM called Contactually. I've used it for about 4 or 5 years. Mr. Charlie Brown Effect, Mark Jess, and myself subscribed to it after R4, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and just really dug into it and took the time to set up all those programs. And it was a lot of late nights just kind of, hashing it out in the conference room, trying to figure it all out. But the great thing about it is once you get it all set up, it's set up. And obviously there's, tweaks and things like that. I will say Bouge is still a thing. I've been able to look into Bouge and talk to Bouge, and it is, what it is going to be capable of doing is almost identical to Contactually. So I'm very confident that sometime soon we'll be able to switch over to the Bouge platform. Fingers crossed on that. But I'm very confident that we're moving in that direction. The reason I've stayed with this so far at this point is just one, it's working, and it has, that system in place of where I go into my dashboard. Some days there's 10 things I need to do today. Today I looked at it and I've got, 50 things I need to get done, but it's telling me exactly what I need to do. Sometimes it's just approve this email, click, send it out. Sometimes it's call this person about this topic and or text this person. But it's, I don't have to put any thought into what am I going to do in regards to prospecting today. It's just right there. So my suggestion for anybody would be, if you're looking to, build programs as far as prospecting and CRM management, make sure you use something that, one, you can, curate to be able to run the programs you want to do, and then just stay consistent with it. And, it has a dashboard with specific tasks.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm seeing a lot of comments thanking you guys for all that you've shared. And just so everyone knows, I also see a lot of questions about this has been recorded, and this will be posted on the RE/MAX INTEGRA YouTube channel. And we are broadcasting live right now on RE/MAX INTEGRA US page, so you can also rewatch it there. And then I will send a link and follow up with Drew's 10-step plan, Stacy's marketing postcard to all of you later today, and with the recording from YouTube as well. So just to kind of let you all know that. But again, I see a lot of great comments. Everyone's very appreciative of everything you're sharing. Looks like a lot of comments more about gift baskets. Thank you. So thanks for hanging with us just a few minutes extra over the hour. So let's bring this home. So Drew and Stacy, what are some final words of advice on how to finish 2020 strong? We'll start with you, Drew.
I'd say, Q4 started Monday, yesterday. The success of your 2021 starts yesterday. So know what your plan is for all of 2021 over this next 2 months. Start prospecting like, you're going to be broke in January if you don't start doing some things right now to reach out to your database, your past clients, your leads that are trickling through right now. Just, start 2021 success story today.
Awesome. Thank you. Stacy.
Yeah, I agree with Drew. Now is goal setting. And I think that that's an important takeaway for going into 2021. I mean, we all don't know what that's going to look like, but what I do know is you're 30% more likely to achieve a goal if you write it down. And for me, a lot of that is visual too. So if you have some successes that you want to see in your life, write them down, look back at them, and just remember that you have to start. So don't be afraid. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. So get out there, show people your face, show them your personality, and make sure you set those goals and definitely write them down. And if you need an accountability partner, you can always reach out to me. I'll check in on you and make sure things are going well. But that would be my best advice for sure.
Wonderful. And I think Drew and Stacy are new best friends too. I'm sure they'll have lots
definitely.
they can bounce off each other. Well, and that's the reason why we do this, everyone. We love, first of all, thank you so much, Drew and Stacy. I had a great time with you, and thanks for all that you shared. And I really, lots of love to all of you out at RE/MAX. Thanks for joining us from all over the North American continent today. And we really, really appreciate it. Join us again next week, same place, same time. We're going to talk productivity, not procrastination. So we will feature another Canadian and a US agent on with us sharing even more. So thanks everyone. You'll get the recording after this. And my email address is mhoyt@remaxintegra.com. If you do not get it for some reason, please feel free to reach out. Thanks, Drew and Stacy. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.